Free Alabama movement, continuing with the video series inside St. Clair's Department of Corrections. We continue to profile real-life stories of young black men who were incarcerated when they were young, sometimes for violent offenses, and they've currently been serving extended sentences inside Alabama's Department of Corrections with no hope or knowing when they're going to be released back into society. We continue to profile the lack of educational and rehabilitation opportunities for these young men, and we continue to profile ways that we can bring reform to the system for the benefit of these young men so they can receive the therapists that they need and then know when they'll be going back into the street. Today we got Mr. Sheffield over here, and Lil E, we're going to be profiling them, and they're going to tell you what life has been like for them as young men inside of the Department of Corrections, coming at a young age, catching a serious offense. Come over here, Mr. Sheffield. I'm going to sit down right here for you. I want you to just tell me your name and just relax. You know, you just tell me your story. Tell me your name, how long you been locked up, how much time you got.
I ain't been in cell for here. Been locked up since I was 17. Got life without parole.
So you were 17 when you caught the offense, when you came off the street, and they gave you life without parole at 17.
Yeah.
When you got life without parole, how old were you when you finally got sentenced?
18.
18, so about a little over a year later. So how does that feel, being 17, life without parole, knowing that as things stand right now, you may never return back into society?
Feeling fucked up.
For a mistake that you made.
For a mistake I made,
you know,
young.
Yeah. I'm not asking if you committed the crime or not. I don't know. That's not what we're trying to profile. What we're trying to show is that, you know, you're not someone that can be thrown away. And a life without parole sins mean that you're unredeemable and nothing can be done for you. I've been around you since you've been here. We've even been cell partners before. So I know things about you, you know, as far as your personal character and stuff. Did you graduate high school?
No.
What was the highest grade of school you completed?
10th.
10th grade. So you haven't got your GED since you've been here this time, right?
I got a GED.
Oh, you did get your GED here? What about you? Well,
No,
you can't go to
the street.
Oh, you got off the street before you came to prison. So, and it's good that you did, because you know that because of your sentence, you can't even go to school now. So they're not even giving you an opportunity to rehabilitate yourself. They basically saying your sentence bars you from going to school, getting a skill or trade. You aware of that, right?
Right.
And so they're saying that you can stay inside of prison, but the one thing about it is, even though they're saying you can't be rehabilitated, they're saying you can work every day. Was you working in the kitchen?
Yeah, I work in the kitchen.
How long you been working in the kitchen?
Since 2002.
Since 2002. You've been working in the kitchen since 2002?
2002.
God damn. So that's 11 years that you've shown that at least, you know, whereas you used to commit crimes, now you have a work ethic. You know what I'm saying? Now you'll go to work, and you done did it for 11 years. So how much they paid you in them 11 years?
Nothing.
Not anything. Now I know something about your personal background as far as your family and stuff. You want to share about your mother and your father. Just tell them, you know, who you got for us here. Tell them about your mom and pop.
Alright, mom and pop, they passed, like, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, just living on my own right now.
Yeah, so this is what they do in the Department of Corrections. This man was 17 years old. His mother and father are deceased. He's been working for 11 years and he doesn't get compensated for his labor. So how is he going to take care of himself? I mean, what can he do to survive? He can't buy bar soap, tube of toothpaste because the state don't compensate him for his labor. But he's 17 when he got locked up. And they're saying that there's nothing can be done with him. But he's showing that's false because he's getting up going to his job every day because he understands that if he doesn't work, you know, nobody gonna give him anything in prison. It's gonna be hard to survive. You just got moved over here. Just tell us about what it's like in the kitchen. You know, I already told them in the book y'all have to steal sandwiches and stuff to get what you want. But tell them what it's like after you've been working 11 years. What would happen to you if you got caught bringing something out to eat?
Probably just a disciplinary, you know what I'm saying, get fired. I mean,
but what do they expect you to do? I mean, what can you do? And the point we're making in Free Alabama movement is this is what encourages criminal behavior. They telling you you gotta steal to have something.
Right.
And they know you don't have anything. You don't have an armband on you. What's gonna happen when they catch you without an armband?
It's a disciplinary.
And what you gonna have to pay for the armband?
$3.
And if you lose your ID card, what you gonna have to pay for that?
$3.
If you get sick and you need to go to the infirmary, what you gotta pay for that?
$4.
Where you gonna get this money from?
Can't get it no more.
So what they want you to do? You ain't got a mother, your father, you know what I'm saying? You've been in this shit since you was 17. You got life without parole. They telling you can't go to trade school because of your sentence. So you can't even get the rehabilitation that you need. And yet here you are, still a young man, striving to stay afloat, you know, remaining strong in the system against all odds. You know what I'm saying? So what do you do? Where do you reach to for strength? How do you do what you do on a day-to-day basis?
I mean, basically, you know, every once in a while I might bring a sandwich out, you know what I'm saying? Trying to eat off of it. And to then though, you know, I ain't got nobody out there.
So that it's sad, man. I mean, it's sad, it's funny. You know, we laughing because we know that this is just, you know, we can't make no sense out of it. You know, we can't make no sense out of it. And he living in these cells, they got us packed up in here, man, and we just trying to find out, you know, what more does the system want from us? If you're not providing us with anything to better ourselves, what more do you expect from us? You know. This little E over here, I'm gonna bring him over here. I'm gonna get back to you in a minute because I want you to talk about the living conditions. But this little E right here, little E, tell me your name a little bit about yourself.
My name is Elijah Zimmerman. I caught my case when I was 23 years old in Birmingham, Alabama. I got 30 years for robbery, 30 for burglary, and 20 for kidnapping, and ran it all to 130. Since I've been locked up, I got my GED, anger management, fatherhood, TC, electrical trade. I did something else too. I pretty much been trying to get everything I can so I can get out of here as soon as possible. But I don't see that happening because like I live in here with these dudes, been in here for 8 years. And I done seen all type of folks go up 10, 15 year club records and get turned down for parole. And I think it's crazy how they'll make you shade to go eat chicken, but won't make a young man that come in here 17, 18 years old go get a GED before they let him go. But they call it Department of Correction. I don't see no correcting going on.
Yeah, you mentioned one of the rules, one of the arbitrary rules, like you said, and we talk about they'll make you go to work, but they won't make you go to school.
They won't make you go to school, but they'll make you go to work.
Yeah,
Write you up if you don't go to work.
Yeah, but they won't say nothing. You can lay in the block all day and you don't have to go to school. So you sound a little bit more mature. How old are you now?
31.
You're 31. So when do you go up for parole?
I go up on 2015.
So in 2015, is they saying, when you get your parole papers in the mail, does it say, okay, you were 22, these are the kind of crimes you committed, we did a psychological evaluation, sociological evaluation, these are what your needs are. Do they lay out a plan for you and say when you meet all these things, when you come up in 2015, you gonna make parole?
No.
So what is that like? What is a parole board?
Well, from my experience, from seeing what I've seen since I've been in here, if the folks don't have a good morning on their way to work, you ain't gonna make parole. Pretty much, because they ain't got no criteria that they gotta go by.
Yeah.
So it's just how they feel when your case comes across their desk, whether you make it or not.
Yeah,
it don't matter what you did good, what you did bad.
And in spite of all that, you still striving to get the things that you need, because you know what you need.
Yeah.
You realize you made mistakes.
Exactly.
And now you realize that the way to overcome them is through positive education, through rehabilitation, being in a positive environment. And you took advantage of those opportunities, and yet you sit here and you still can't say when you going home.
I don't know when I'm going home.
So talk about the living conditions inside the prison. Tell me what you see on a day-to-day basis, because people won't believe. They ain't gonna believe me. Man. I done took pictures, but
tell me. I walked in the chow hall and it smelled like wet dogs. And just the other day I was in there, man. We was in there eating. You know, right behind where they scan your ID at. A dude stomped a rat in the chow hall, man, and picked it up and walked it out there and dropped it in the garbage can while we in there eating. I done seen all type of stuff from working in the kitchen. I worked in the kitchen adventure for 18 months. We done found rat grills in the sloppy joe. We done found the chicken foot, the claw in the chicken, man.
Just everything, anything.
I try not to eat out that kitchen. Only thing I rightfully eat out there is the stuff that's identifiable, like the chicken or the fish. when they do have that.
Yeah, that you know what it is. I know
that
that.
meat patty stuff though.
You can't afford to eat it.
No.
So how do you take care of yourself? I mean, we all know that when you working here, you don't be compensated for it. How much of a struggle is it, you know, putting a burden on your family to send some money to you, knowing that they're gonna take it off the top, the court costs and filing fees, armbands and IDs.
Yeah.
Just how does that work for you? How do you survive that?
Well, whatever way I can, man. Whatever I gotta do to eat, that's what I gotta do.
Yeah.
Cause my folks can't afford to be sending me no money in here. I gotta, you know, man up, fend for myself.
Yeah. And so the opportunities, I mean, you said you worked in the kitchen for 18 months.
Yeah.
So you will work.
Yeah.
If they give you an opportunity to work to take care of yourself, you'll do that.
I am gonna do that.
Ain't that what you're gonna have to do when you get back to the street?
Got to.
Well, how can they prepare you for that now and making you work for free? How does that help you when you get back out there? The only person that benefits is the person who getting the free labor. How does that help you?
That don't help me at all. I had to take the initiative because didn't nobody make me go get my GED. I had to do it because I knew I had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I got me an electrical trade, so that's something that I can have to fall back on when I get out.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, pretty much everything I done did in here, I did because my family. I done trying to get back out there to my family.
Have you been up for parole yet?
No, I ain't never been up there.
And you done did how many years so far?
8.
8 years, and you said you got what, 2 more to go, so 10 years.
Yeah.
Now, just being realistic, you know, and what I mean by that is, you've been in here, you done looked around, you see how it goes. What are your prospects for making parole in 2 years?
Well, from what I've been hearing from the officers here, that I ain't gonna make parole because I got a clear record.
Yeah.
And they say I've been beating the system.
Yeah, explain that. Tell me.
I can't explain that. I ain't never heard nothing like it.
But you know what
They send me
happened.
here, yeah. They send me here.
Because you acting up.
Yes.
And
I
so
get
when
in
you
here
start
now,
acting
do the right
good,
thing. They tell me I ain't gonna make it because I'm beating the system because I ain't getting in trouble.
so it's just a
I
contradiction.
don't know what to
Everything's
do. I don't know whether to go get a knife and stab somebody or just see what's gonna happen in 2 more years when I go up with a clear record.
You know about the guy just went up with the clear record, did 37 years.
Yes,
He
yeah,
had
yeah.
2 disciplinaries.
One in 85 and one in 95
Yeah.
and got turned down.
Yeah, so when you see that and you see how much time he done, and you look at your circumstances, what does it make you?
It ain't looking good. Like everything I'm doing now in vain.
Just go. What about you? You think you can make parole if they gave you a parole date?
I don't know.
What if they laid out a list of criteria and say, okay, if you do this, if they say if you get your GED, you get a skill of trade, you get anger management, you get criminal thinking, you get crime bill, you get TC, and you get fatherhood initiative, and you take an intensive reentry program, and they tell you if you can complete all of that within a 10-year span and show that you're able to go back to the street, you think you could complete that?
I complete.
You could complete it? You would want to complete it?
I want to complete.
Would that make your time more constructive? When you get up and they told you it's time to go to work in the morning, you'd be enthused about going to work then, wouldn't you?
Right.
Because you understand that this is part of my therapy to get me out of prison. And then they compensate you because you don't have any family support. That'll make things easier for you because then you'll be able to go to the store. You won't be without. You know what I'm saying? So how would that be something you would want an opportunity for?
Yeah.
Well, that's what Free Alabama movement is about, man. You know, we looking at this system, and the one flaw that we see in the system is our inability as men to recognize our situation, stand up and do something about it. You know, this is a free labor system, and the way this system works is because we get up every morning and go to work for free. So we figured out that there's $1 million in free labor being done just in the kitchen every year. You know, then that's not including the runner jobs, the maintenance crews, and all this and that. There's no telling how much labor, cheap labor they getting out of the industry. Because those guys make 25 cents an hour at the top of the scale, $40 a month. That's the most you can make now and then. So, understanding that, we devise an economic policy, what we call economic policies of empowerment for Alabama prisoners. And what we're doing is we're asking men all around the state that work these jobs for free to participate in a nonviolent peaceful protest by walking off the job. You know, and we feel like that this will put economic pressure on the system to make them listen to our grievances and make them do changes, because they still got to cook the food. They're required to do that by law. You know, they still got to keep the place up because they're required to do that by law. And if they don't do it, I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. I'm going to continue filing documentaries. I'm gonna continue taking pictures, and I'm gonna continue to show the people that, you know, these people are not trying to do the right thing. But we're not criminals just saying we want to get out of prison. We're saying we realize we made mistakes. We want an opportunity to overcome those mistakes, but the system not allowing it. So would you, how would you feel about being a part of that? Do you think you would support it? People you know, would they support a nonviolent peaceful protest along the lines of removing free labor from the system?
Yeah.
Give us just a little inside scoop into what you see in the kitchen, because we hear the stories, you know, but tell us what it's like from someone who's been in the kitchen for 11 years.
You see some huge rats in there, on some big rats. Guts laying on the floor. When they stomp them, they don't clean them up.
What about the line? Just tell about the trays. What do you do in the kitchen? Tell me about that. What do you
I'm an egg cook.
Oh, you an egg cook?
Yeah.
All right, so when you go to work, tell me what you see in the course of doing your job that you know that something ain't right. You know, is it when you get there and turn the lights on, roaches and rats, or is it while you working doing your job, roaches and rats everywhere? The steward is not saying nothing, the police turn their head. What do you see on a day-to-day basis?
See roaches and rats. When you turn the light, you know what I'm saying, they just walk around, running everywhere. You see guts and stuff laying on the floor, busted up. Pans in the bathroom, people making sandwiches. You see, you know what I'm saying, trash everywhere, knocked over.
And this is in the kitchen.
In the kitchen.
But what about the health department? When they come through, how is it they keep getting these high scores on these checks? How does that work now?
I mean, you know, a couple times the health department came through and seen rats and roaches and shit, right? You know what I'm saying? But now,
what they do? What do they do?
I mean, they tell them about it, you know what I'm saying? But that's all, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, you want to say something? Go ahead.
About that, when the folks come in here to do any kind of check, we ain't going nowhere until everything clean. They gonna make everybody, you gonna clean up that morning up. Everything gonna look like it's.
So they wouldn't address it.
Exactly.
They wouldn't address it.
Everything gonna look like it's been like you know it's sanitary or whatever, but it ain't. That's just for that moment there.
So ain't no surprise inspections where they just popping up.
No, I ain't seen one.
See what's really going on. Is everybody on point? This when we coming.
Yeah.
Get your stuff together.
Exactly.
And make sure it's speaking Spanish.
Exactly. Grass gonna be cut outside. Ain't no paper gonna be nowhere. Ain't gonna be nobody just rumbling around. Even in the rats and roaches, you might see one or two, but you ain't gonna see as many as we see on a daily basis when we go through there to eat 3 times a day.
Okay. So what do you do right now? Do you work? You
I'm still in school.
Oh, you still in school? What you taking up this time?
Electrical.
Oh,
just an aide.
Oh, you're an aide
Yeah.
now? Okay. So how come, I'm curious about something. How is it that you can complete all these programs, now you can rise to the point where you can be an aide and start teaching people, but what are they holding you in prison for? Why are you still here?
I don't know. Your guess just as good as mine. I filed for a cut before they told me to file back next year, which I'm gonna do. Hopefully some shape.
So you, I mean, just, and you knowing that you done did all these things, what does it make you feel like? Just tell me.
I guess only thing I ain't got yet a crime bill, so I'm gonna go get that.
Alright. Well, I appreciate it, man. Wish you best of luck. I hope that it work out for you.
I
You know?
so too.
And Disco, bro, you know we're gonna be here doing this, man, until they do something about it, because I know that there's no reason why you should die in prison for something you did or was a part of or was convicted or whatever when you were 17 years old. They can't tell me that you can't be rehabilitated, because I know that you can. And I know that they afforded you opportunities for real rehabilitation, real education, and to prepare you to go back. I know you could be a success story out there. You know, and you'll be an inspiration for a lot of dudes, because, you know, you standing strong with no support. You know, your family is deceased, and yet you still survive. So I know somebody can benefit from that, but, you know, they're not going to give you the opportunity, so we're going to create one. That's what Free Alabama Movement is all about. All right. That's the end of this interview today. Y'all know it ain't going to stop, man. I mean, you know, I see it every day. These dudes, they remind me of my kids. They remind me of my little nephew that's running around here, you know, and they remind me of me, because some of them is my age, and some of them going through the same things I'm going through. But, you know, we're not going to stop. We know we're doing the right thing, so we're not afraid. You know, we're going to have a nonviolent, peaceful protest. It's going to be a work stoppage. Tentatively, the date is set for January the 4th. The book is completed. I'm about to send it out, and be sending it to the publisher real soon. And hopefully I can get the book edited and get it printed so that we can get it out there. The t-shirts are ready. You know, we're gonna be selling those real soon. My family members, everybody, our supporters, they finna start hitting the prisons before a visit, standing outside on public property, passing out the book, passing out the information, because enough is enough. You know, it's time to do something about it, and this is what we've chosen to do. Exercise our right as men and women. Women at Tutwiler, they are a part of this movement. We haven't made a contact yet inside of Tutwiler, but we got faith. We know we're gonna make it run soon. So, free Alabama. Peace.